he's like, hey man, you should have 2 or 3 dad jokes up your sleeve, at all times. It's just to make it fun, right? So I'm like, okay, so where am I gonna store these dad jokes? And I thought the best place would be a database.
Oh,
But I was like, you know what? So instead of that, because it would seem a little complicated, I picked up a pen instead. And it's pretty cool because this pen, it writes underwater, but it writes other words too. So that was cool.
good start,
I did
bro.
this
Good
for I did
start.
this right because yeah, but I used the pen actually because I've got a handyman here and I wrote a list for him and he only did jobs 1, 3, 5, and 7 and I realized he only does odd jobs.
Warning: this podcast may cause excessive dad jokes, sudden bursts of motivation, and the irresistible urge to high five yourself.
Welcome to the Daddius Project, where we help dads master the biggest and messiest project of your life, dadhood.
I'm Scott Vatcher, recovering perfectionist, dad of 1 teenage girl, and a guy who once didn't sleep for 6 months straight.
And I'm Evan Hill, professional chaos coordinator, dad of 3 teenagers, and living proof that duct tape can fix a sippy cup temporarily.
Each week, we'll hit you with real talk, dad hacks, and the kind of inspiration that doesn't require matching socks.
Ready to level up? Let's build this dad life together. All right. Welcome to the Daddius Project Podcast. So I'm Evan, and this is Scott, all the way from Australia. How's it going, Scott?
I'm doing good,
Yeah, so
man. It's good to be here.
yeah, it's been a long time. So Scott and I, we met in chiropractic college back in 1998, and graduated 2003. He moved to Australia, and then through the internet, discovered after we had had kids. I have 3, he has 1. That he's doing a podcast called the Wake Up Dad Show. This is quite a while ago, and I was doing the global movement for dad, the global dad movement. And so he's like, "Hey, we should have you on the show." And so we did the show
The
together,
rest
and
is
it was
history.
a great show. And then he's like, why don't we just do this podcast together? So I think we did like 65 episodes. And it morphed into this like huge vision, and then it was massive. And then we dialed it down, and it says, "Hey, we got to like just like write this book." And the book is now complete. We have our author's copies. We're just ready to launch this thing, and we're relaunching the podcast called the Daddius Project. So that's what we're doing right now. You're witnessing the very first episode of the Daddius podcast, the Daddius Project podcast. And we want to share with you, what our vision is, what we're up to. And yeah, I'm like, really excited to have you on board.
Yeah, it's super excited to be here. That Wake Up Dad Show podcast, we had a ton of fun. And we hope to continue on with that fun. And also, some people call it edutainment, you know,
Yeah.
try and make you laugh, but also give you guys some life lessons as dads, because we're both dads. We both have, basically teenage kids now. So we've been through the hard yards of the young kids, and we're going through the trials and tribulations of having teenagers. And we've owned businesses, and we've moved countries, and we've had ups and downs in relationships, and ups and downs in our mates, and all kinds of stuff, right? We call it the P6 of Daddius, or the P6 of Dadhood. And that's what the book was written about too, right? So as I've said, we've had quite the journey to get here, and I'm just so excited to move forward with this podcast. Do you remember when we had Dadcoin?
Yeah. We had Dadcoin was the cryptocurrency that was going to be a reward system for dads, along with an app and gamification and the Datapedia. Anyways, we
Yeah,
were we
we've
were
got
like we were way
so
out there.
as that's right. As I've said, we've got a big vision for this, right? Like our overarching theme is to help dads be better people, right? Help dads be better dads, of course, but we have the philosophy that in order to be a better dad, you got to be a better man. So we've had a big winding road to get here. It's been 8 years, I believe. Yeah, dad coin, cryptocurrency, app, this, that, the other thing. And we had to dial it right back and go, you know what? Let's see if anyone wants to listen to us first. So that's what this is about.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, with the Wake Up Dad show, we did really well. That podcast released back in 2017, got to top 3% in the world at that stage. Now, it was a lot
yeah.
less podcasts back then, so it was a lot easier to do that. But, you know, that's our vision. We want to reach 1 million dads. So we're going to be out
Uh,
there on a couple of different avenues, YouTube, Spotify, maybe Apple Podcasts as well. But we're not going to do a lot. We're only going to do 3 groups of
mhm,
places to listen slash see us. If you want to see our ugly mugs, get on YouTube.
mhm.
If not, if you just want to listen to our dumb voices, then go with that too. And so, like we
That-
said, we want to, our big vision is 1 million dads, if not more, to help inspire them to be better men. And we do it through what we call the P6 of Dadhood.
yeah, it's it really the vision is when we talk about helping 1 million dads, it's it's the impact that they're making in their family. It's about creating stronger families as well and communities in the world. Really, I think this can have a global impact. And as Scott said, we want to keep it, we want to keep it fun too. He's like, hey man, you should have 2 or 3 dad jokes up your sleeve, at all times. It's just to make it fun, right? So I'm like, okay, so where am I gonna store these dad jokes? And I thought the best place would be a database.
Oh,
But I was like, you know what? So instead of that, because it seemed a little complicated, I picked up a pen instead. And it's pretty cool because this pen, it writes underwater, but it writes other words too. So that was cool.
good start,
I did
bro.
this
Good
for I did
start.
this right because yeah, but I used the pen actually because I've got a handyman here and I wrote a list for him and he only did jobs 1, 3, 5, and 7 and I realized he only does odd jobs.
Oh, I saw that one coming. I was almost going to do the punchline on that one.
Ah,
Well, there's your 3. You're done.
yeah, I just knock him out. Yeah.
So yeah, guys, in this first episode, it's going to be short and sharp. We're just going to give you the highlights, the low lights, the sideways lights, the upside down lights, the underwater lights, all the lights, and hopefully it'll shine a light in your eyes bright enough that you need to look away. I don't know where I'm going with this. But to
Oh.
give you, the big vision, the big why, and what we're going to do moving forward. So, roughly speaking, and again, by the time you listen to episode 7, this might be different, but we're going to try and release an episode a week, and we're going to dive deep into some pretty heavy stuff. I want to be controversial. We've both been health professionals most of our lives. And when we talk to clients or patients, we have a certain code of ethics that we need to stand by, and we can't be too controversial, and we could get in trouble with the boards and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to be a health professional on this podcast.
No,
I want to be a dad who has his own opinions,
that's right.
and some of those opinions might not be what you think is the good opinion. So I'm
Mm,
just super happy to be here and shoot the shit with a buddy because that is P6 of the P6 is play. And I think
but
that's super important for dads. And we're going to dive deep into some crazy stats around dads and men. But like depression and suicide rates among men are through the roof, like literally, I think going up daily. Like I believe somewhere in the range of a man commits suicide every 6 seconds or something ridiculous. So, we want to get back to fun. We want to get back to quashing this idea of toxic masculinity because that's what we are. We're men. We should be masculine. It's super important to be masculine. But by saying that, it may not be what you think it means, right? So we want to dive deep into topics like that. We want to dive deep into health. Longevity is a big one that I'm looking at right now. There's this dude, Peter Attia. He's a medical doctor. And oh man, one day I hope to get him on. So we've got a big vision here. We got some big people that we want to get on this podcast at some point as it grows. If you guys like it and want to listen, because if you guys don't keep listening, it's not going to grow. And if it doesn't grow, we're not going to get cool guests on. So hopefully you keep listening. That's the plan, right? But yeah, this guy talks about look at the last decade of your life and what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And we talk about this in the book too. Our big vision is the long term, right? When you look back on your life, what do you want to achieve? Where do you want to be? And we believe that P6 of Dadhood is the way to get there. And so we're super excited to share this. We're not going to get too much into it today. We might just do a super brief overview. We're probably going to do a whole episode on just what the P6 is. I believe we might even do 2 episodes. I've got my little list here of the next coming episodes, probably breaking down the P1 to P6 in greater detail. Oh, Ev, the Daddius score. What do you want to say in like a couple of sentences about that?
Well, I think just jump on daddius.com and do the Daddius score. That's a great first step. And we're gonna dive into the P6 in the next 2 episodes in depth. So I think let's just save it for then. We really just wanted to introduce ourselves and just let you know that we're super pumped about this journey. And so I got to tell you though, so Scott and I, we started writing this book, the Daddius Project. We started writing it. We're looking back and it's been 6 years. So it took us 6 years to write a book. We didn't blast it out by any stretch of the imagination, but but we got it done. And I think there's something to be said about finishing a book that you started 6 years ago. I think a lot of people start a book and they just never finish. And there was like many times where Scott questioned me. He's like, where are you at? Like, are you gonna follow through with this? And it was kind of like him also like, am I following through? Are we doing this? Like, are we doing this? Are you doing this? Am I doing this? What are we doing? And it was always like such an amazing conversation because over 6 years, a lot changes. Our kids were going through formative years. It was like, we wrote a lot of the book. Our kids were still pretty young, right? Like probably like 7 was the age of yours, right? And when you started around there, and so we wrote the book while our kids were still in those ages where you remember diaper stage, you remember the sleepless nights, you remember pushing the stroller, you remember being like the packer, unpacker, and like rocking the pram and, just like all that stuff. And, all the wonderful, wonderful stages, the early days. And then now like our kids are teenagers and we're just finishing the book and it's like, we kept it all those things, all those years. And it was really on trial. We were basically testing everything that we'd written, although we weren't like, hey, let's wait, and release this until our kids are teenagers and then we'll have tested everything. It wasn't like that. But those conversations that we had when it was like, okay, are we going to finish this thing? Are we going to do this? Because we went through a lot of changes during those years. I moved my family from Toronto to Costa Rica. and we didn't have a place to live. We were, it was a crazy time through COVID, for example. And so, yeah, there was a lot of interruptions there. But what happened when we had those conversations was like deep down, it was like, yeah, there is no question we're finishing this book and we're doing this. This is way more important. This is this is the purpose. This is the purpose right here of what I think my life is about for the next, like I would say, the next half of my life. Like I'm almost 50. I'm 48 years old. I've had, uh, you know, I've had a career as a chiropractor. Um, I'm kind of on the other side of like the raising of the kids. They're almost, I've got two that are almost ready to leave home. Um, and I remember what it was like, and I want to share this story real quick. And maybe Scott, you got a story you want to share too. But um, I remember what it was like when I was my kids were younger, and I remember there was a couple things that really stood out for me. And the first one was when, so my wife and I, we started our chiropractic practice together, and so we were seeing patients in the same office. She had her practice, I had mine, and then she got pregnant, and so when she had the baby, she was staying home to breastfeed and take care of the baby, and so that was our plan. She would take a year, do that, and it was a huge wake up call for me. When she left, and it was like this is all me, and this is the first time in my life where I'm like, holy shit, like I'm responsible for not just myself, but also for her and our baby. Like they're all counting on me. And like I can't fail. Like we had finally moved to a place that we were happy about. And there was days where I'm like, holy shit, like I could fail here. Like it was a lot of pressure. It was so much pressure. And so when we hear statistics on, dads and I got to say, like, I wasn't like, oh, hey, I'm feeling the pressure. I wasn't like going around telling my mates, like, hey, I'm struggling, like I'm scared shitless here. Like, it's like, no, I was like keeping all the cards to myself. Like, this is my hand, and I'm not sharing my hand with anybody. And I'm just going to deal with this. I thought I got this. But like, I didn't have it though. Like, it was like a long time of experiencing this struggle. And it was so much pressure. I remember sometimes just going up to the bedroom, closing the door, and just like sobbing, like fetal position, sobbing, like I was a little boy, and it was embarrassing. Um, but when I got through all that, and I got to the other side of kind of feeling a little bit more secure financially, which took a long time. And I've gotten through a lot of the, more difficult times with the kids being young and all the work that's involved, and, just feeling I got some of my energy back. I remember sharing my story with some close mates of mine, and they shocked me. They were like, dude, you have no idea. Like, I got some stories for you. And I was like, what? And they were telling me like stuff they'd gone through, and I was blown away. These are dads that I thought had everything going on for them, and they were struggling immensely and going through major challenges. And so I just want to say, like, that the dads that are listening, if you're in a difficult spot right now, just keep going, one day at a time. Link in with us. What we have going on here is going to elevate your life. It's going to increase your quality of life in a massive way. And yeah, it's really, we talk about a million dads, but really it starts with one, and that's going to be worth it. Like saving one dad's life and helping one family be stronger and stay together, have healthy, happy kids that, that make a difference and get out there and do their thing in the world, like that's what I'm here for. That's why after 6 years, I'm still here. It's that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Evan. That's great, great story. And what pops up in my mind is kind of why we called it the Daddius Project. We'll get into the word Daddius in another episode because that's a bit of a story in and of itself. But the idea of calling it a project, and I love it because we had many different names, everything from the dad book to the dad playbook to all kinds of things. But when project came up, and I can't remember, I can't take credit for it. I don't know who, me or you, took it. Do you know? I don't know.
It's probably me. I come
It was
up with all
probably
the good ideas.
it
Yeah.
was probably me. Yeah, I think it was me. Um, so yeah, when that word project came up, and we start thinking about that word and going, it is a project. None of us are perfect, and we are not putting ourselves out there as like follow us because we're the ultimate dads. That is absolutely not it. We are in this journey together, and I love what you said there. Like a million dads starts with one. So I think that is a great way to sort of wrap up this episode for us. We wanted to just a short, sharp first episode to just give you guys an idea, a big picture. Simon Sinek wrote the book, Start With Why. And when we were in those challenging times, yes, I do remember having some conversations with you thinking, this is it, Ev's out. I don't think this conversation's going well. I have to have a hard conversation with Ev about this. And it ended up being amazing. So I think that's, such a big part of life is communication and just, talking out your love and your passion about things and figuring out if, how to make it work in your life. So I hope that this has inspired you to watch the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking maybe we did so well on the dad shows because there was no faces. It was just our voice. And maybe that was why. So we'll see. Like, if people don't tune in, it's maybe because of
What
our
are you saying about
months.
my face?
No, it's nothing against your face. Just maybe people don't like our faces. Maybe they prefer our
Oh,
voices. So maybe
there
maybe
is
it
one.
doesn't catch on because they're seeing our faces.
Maybe it's
Possible.
your face. I think it's your face. But I did hear, and this might help. Hey, you've heard of pickleball?
I don't want to talk about pickleball right now.
But you did talk. You've heard about pickleball?
Oh, yes, I've heard about pickleball.
It's like
Everybody's
one of
heard
the
about
most.
pickleball. Yeah,
It's
it's
the
fucking
one of the
huge.
fastest growing sports. But there's
I
another
don't
one
really
that's
want
very
to talk about it.
similar. There's another one that's really, really similar. It's called quiet tennis. Have you heard of quiet tennis?
No,
Quiet tennis
I
is
haven't heard about it.
exactly quiet tennis is exactly like real tennis, except there's no racket. It's a big sport. It's a big sport these days.
Is that a dad joke?
The fact that you have to ask.
I don't know. It's like I don't even know how to. Where do you find that shit?
I couldn't
Quiet
leave without
tennis.
telling a dad joke.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you for
You're
that.
welcome. You're welcome. And
Leading it
and
with
I love you.
pickleball, though.
You're not a fan?
I don't want to talk about pickleball.
Obviously not a fan. Okay. That's next episode.
I know a lot of
is
people.
a-
I know a lot of people love it. That's fine.
Next episode is a deep dive into pickleball. Stay tuned. All right. Thanks, dads. Bye.
With Scott Vatcher. All right.
All right, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode. Going to be released soon. We're going to do a deep dive into our book, basically, the P6 of Dadhood, to give you guys a really good synopsis about what we're going to be doing moving forward to help you guys out in everything that we can help you. So have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Cheers.
That's another episode in the books, dads. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was dadhood.
True story. For more tools to build your best dad life, grab our book, The Daddius Project, or join us at daddius.com.
And hey, if you learned one thing today, you're already winning. Even if that one thing was never trust a 3-year-old with glitter.
Words to live by. Now go forth and dad like a pro.